Coming up next, we have a fight between Hamza Azizi and Nigel Drapeau. Ari, Azizi making his debut here, but we're expecting good things based on the gym he comes out of, PFA in Lethbridge.
Yeah, I think PFA is a good striking club, and they have a lot of good fighters, and I think this is going to be a stand-up war.
Now, on the other side, Nigel Drapeau says he needs to be more aggressive in this fight after losing his first fight via TKO.
Well, if he stands in the pocket, someone's going to go down.
Hamza Azizi taking on Nigel Drapeau next.
This School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 155-pound division and is brought to you by Driving Force. And now, let's meet our fighters.
So coming down for our second fight of the night, coming out of our blue corner, we've got Hamza Azizi. Yeah, I was talking to Azizi at the weigh-ins last night, and I asked all these fighters, what kind of fighter are you? Who are you? What am I expecting to see from you in the cage? Especially when we've got guys making their debut fight. And he said he's more of a striker. Says he feels like his ground game is good, but it's not where he wants it to be yet. So he'd rather keep this fight on his feet. And we'll see if his opponent, Nigel Drapeau, is willing to do that with him.
Well, like everybody making their debut in anything, whether it's an MMA fight, a song, a knitting class, it doesn't matter. There's going to be some nerves as you make your first way in. Competitive knitting, of course, Ryan. And when you do that, competition, doesn't matter what it is, there's going to be nerves. When we talked to Hamza Azizi about it, he said, I hope to be able to channel those nerves and use it in my fight to be able to use that energy to succeed.
Yeah, says he's a nice guy outside the cage, but expects that to change as soon as the cage door closes. Now we will meet his opponent. Here's Jaden Nance.
And his opponent.
Coming down to the cage now for our red corner is Nigel Drapeau.
An interesting story in Nigel Drapeau. He used to be 285 pounds, and he started MMA to get in shape. And now when you look at him here, he's fighting in at the 155-pound division. So that means he's lost 130 pounds over a couple years. And a great story. And for those of you out there, it doesn't matter if you are a big, strong guy or maybe perhaps have been sitting on the couch eating too many cookies. You can go to MMA, and in those gyms, you can get some experience.
Now Nigel Drapeau will make his way into the cage shortly. Said that he doesn't know anything about his opponent, which doesn't surprise, as Hamza Azizi is making his amateur debut. But sometimes you can find tape on the guy in a different sport. Unfortunately for Nigel Drapeau, nothing like that exists. Now for our official introductions, we'll head inside the cage to Jaden Nance.
And now, the official Hard Knocks fighter introductions. In the blue corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 22 years old and stands 5 feet, 11 inches tall. He weighed in at 154 pounds. Fighting out of Progressive Fighting Academy from Lethbridge, please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Hamza Azizi. And in the red corner, he's 0-1 as an amateur, 29 years old, and stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall. He weighed in at 155.5 pounds, fighting out of Dragon MMA from Fort St. John. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Nigel Drapeau. This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. John Cooper.
So we're just about underway with our second fight of the night. Nigel Drapeau out of the red corner in the blue and white trunks. The black and red trunks out of the blue corner for Hamza Azizi. This fight being contested under the novice amateur rules, which does eliminate ground and pound, no strikes to the head of a downed opponent, and we are underway. Nice sharp inside kick. Responded Drapeau coming forward, but Hamza gets out of the way.
And Nigel Drapeau had a pretty mean look on his face as he was getting introduced. His eyes never left Hamza. And when he's throwing here, you see Hamza more the clinical striker, and Drapeau has bad intentions behind every single thing he throws.
Yeah, it seems like he's throwing those punches, Jeremy, from a little wider an arc than maybe he would with a little more training. But for right now, both fighters exchanging blows, and a nice checked leg kick there after Azizi threw it.
Azizi trying to find his range. You notice he's throwing out the jabs, still trying to find it, but looking to counter every single time Nigel Drapeau steps in.
Nice leg kick there from Drapeau. And again, you can see when Drapeau does connect, Jeremy, that he's connecting with some serious power, knocking Azizi back.
Azizi needs to find a way to get inside those big wild swings. On the other side, Drapeau, hopefully, and we can only tell because we've never seen him fight in the Hard Knocks cage before. We don't know if he has the stamina to last with these bad intention punches for 3 rounds. He's going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, 4-inch height advantage for Azizi, but so far, anytime he gets a little bit close, you can see that comes in. Nice combination there, ends with the kick to the belly, and another kick to the body there, and followed up with a third one. So Azizi trying to land some strikes. A nice outside leg kick there in response from Drapeau.
And a big body shot there by Azizi. Nice body kick. That one landed nice and flush.
Yeah, again, Drapeau dropping 135 pounds training MMA and down to the 155-pound weight class.
Now, that's not a weight cut for those of you at
home.
Please do not cut 135 pounds. That was over several years.
Yeah.
Nice shot there from Drapeau.
And Azizi comes forward again, continuing to kick at that midsection, Jeremy, and maybe trying to lure Drapeau into dropping his hands and to block it and then leaving himself over for strikes.
Well, it's already starting to work a little bit because every single time that those kicks come in, those hands are going down.
So we'll see if he then follows it up with punches, as neither one of those or any of those punches really landed.
Less than 10 seconds remaining, and both fighters, I think Azizi, the ring-in experience showed on there, the cage-in experience showed because he heard the clapper and he looked over the ref and said, okay, that's it.
Yeah. So 1 round in the books for Hamza Azizi and Nigel Drapeau. A solid round, Jeremy. I thought that both fighters landed some strikes. A tough round to call because it's going to be whether or not it's the volume of strikes or the damage done, because it certainly seemed like the punches from Drapeau were landing a little harder than the ones from Azizi. But I think on a sheer volume of strikes, Azizi would have won that round.
Well, these kicks, I think, are going to be the big difference because you look at some of these kicks, and they're landing, and those are landing in good, solid areas. They're nice and flush. They're on the shin, so it's not the foot. When you land the top of the foot, it doesn't do any damage. When you land the shin on that, it does a significant damage, and what those do is they limit the amount of oxygen, limit the amount of air that you're taking in, and anytime you can take away a breath from your opponent, that's going to put you one step closer to being able to secure the fight, if only because they're just not getting enough oxygen to fuel their bodies.
So coaches have been instructed out at the end of the break between round 1 and 2. And Hamza Azizi and Nigel Drapeau will resume hostilities here in round number 2 of this 3-round potential fight. And again, you can see that kick to the midsection coming from Azizi, and Drapeau now charging through that and landing a nice right hand.
Well, I'm betting his corner asked him, hey, are these punches hurting you? And if Drapeau says, no, these punches aren't hurting me, then just come through them. Eat a few, but get inside, and that's where you're going to want to work. You also look at Drapeau, the first kick that Azizi threw, Drapeau dropped his hand and tried to catch it as opposed to try and block it. So we'll see if that comes into play later on in the fight.
Again, continuing to strike here. Drapeau trying to find his reach. Azizi using his reach advantage to his advantage, staying outside of the range of Drapeau's punches.
A little bit of blood coming from the nose of Hamza Azizi. So don't know whether that's just a scratch or if that's actually a dripping, bleeding nose. It looks like a bleeding nose now for Azizi.
Drapeau stuck the chin there. A high kick coming through from Azizi that does not connect. Another one to the midsection. Jeremy, it looks like he's targeting that area. And a bit of a welt now coming up on the side of Drapeau's body where those kicks have been landing.
Oh, and a big swing from Drapeau there. But you're right, Ryan. Those welts are coming in on the right side of Nigel Drapeau's body, and he's trying to find the liver. One good shot to the liver, and it's fight over.
Yeah, again, not often I've seen that kind of damage to the body of a fighter from kicks. You sometimes start to see it on the leg, but yeah, that's getting right purple in that area. But to his credit, Drapeau keeps coming forward and swings from the waist on that one.
Some shots that landed there, none of real damage done to Hamza Azizi. But you're right, Ryan. Those shots are coming from the hip. He's just landing those out. That's not clinical. That's I'm going to end you with one punch kind of punching.
Again, another kick to that targeted area. And it's funny, Jeremy, you talk about when fighters start to see a welt grow or a spot grow, that red mark, and it becomes the focus of the attack. I'm going to keep hitting you in that one spot because I know it's going to hurt more and more each time that I do it.
Well, it's like a kid in an ice cream store. If you give him 75 flavors or 75 targets, he's not going to be able to pick one. But if you give him one target and say, this is the only thing that you can have, that's what he's going to go for.
Looks like a low blow here. So I believe Drapeau will get a moment or 5.
Hey,
and
we get a replay of it. Thanks, Hard Knocks crew. We
no
get a replay of that. That's right. That's right in the.
Yeah, that's not gonna be any clearer than that right there.
Yeah.
But does not take the 5 minutes to recover. Looks like it was more of something where he got kicked right in the cup. Didn't seem to affect him that badly. And so Drapeau able to get out and resume the rest of the round. Round 2 does come to a close, though, Jeremy. A little more striking from Azizi here in round 2, landing the better of the shots as well as more of them.
Well, and as you look at a replay of some of the action here, again, we see another one of those kicks by Hamza Azizi landing to the good target. And there's another one. It doesn't quite land that time. But you look at how Nigel Drapeau is changing his game to deal with these kicks. And that inside leg kick was vicious.
Yeah, it's interesting watching Drapeau fight. You got to think he's now thinking, okay, I'm going to try and end the fight with that one big punch and get it out there and connect with it. Azizi's got to be careful because if one of those lands, it could be big trouble for him. But in the meantime, Nigel Drapeau, like I said, a welt rising on the side of his body from the kicks landed by Hamza Azizi.
Well, Azizi's a very fast fighter, so it's tough to land one of those big shots. And if you look at the highest level fighters, oftentimes when guys get dropped, it's not a big bomb. It's a quick jab to a very accurate, targeted location.
Round number 3 of this fight is underway as Nigel Drapeau takes on Hamza Azizi. Azizi making his amateur debut. Drapeau 0-1 in his amateur mixed martial arts career.
Some more very clinical striking from Azizi.
Oh,
big shot.
he's out. He's out. That fight is over. The big punch lands. Nigel Drapeau is your winner.
And I'm going to take back everything I said about a small shot ending a fight.
The crowd is on their feet for the hometown boy who just put Hamza Azizi to sleep.
You talk about maybe it has something to do with the Johnny Hendricks beard, Ryan, but that thing landed, and it was a low shot. It was a big punch, a looping punch, but caught Hamza right on the off button. And honestly, Ryan, I think that would have caught everyone it connected with on the off button.
Yeah, that's an off button punch. That's a good night punch. And what a punch from Nigel Drapeau. Hamza Azizi went down, and we've got it here. And you'll see the punch come in, just loaded from everywhere, took him out and down. And a little bit of a shot there after the fight, Jeremy, and that's training taking over, because this guy was not able, should not have punched him in the face here. And that's something that could be an issue, because of course no strikes to the head of a downed opponent, and certainly Azizi was down there, and we'll see the hit from another angle. Just
caught him on the chin, Ryan.
Reminiscent of the Bisping fight.
Almost exactly
the highlight, like a
Bisping
video game, Bisping Henderson, thank you, where he circled towards his power and ended up paying the price for it. Hamza Azizi, a very good amateur debut, but nevertheless finds himself on the wrong end of a knockout punch.
Well, and we see that Hamza Azizi is now awake, and so that's always a good sign. He seems to be moving all of his limbs, so again, a very good sign for this young fighter that he doesn't appear to be too damaged. But again, a big shot there from Nigel Drapeau, and I dare say it, that one might end up as a highlight on our opening video at one point or another, because when that punch landed, it was good night. Good night, Hamza. We're still waiting on Hamza Azizi to come on up as we look here. This is a replay one more time from a different angle. He's going to catch him right on the chin, and as soon as that head snaps, it is fight over. And again, a big extra shot to the head there that unfortunately, with the rules the way they are, that is an illegal shot, so there may be some disciplinary action coming against Nigel Drapeau, but the fight was over before the shot. So again, we will see what happens in regard to that later on. Of course, you'll probably find out that information on the Hard Knocks website, www.hardknocksfighting.com, if there's anything that comes from that shot. But excellent victory here for Nigel Drapeau, was able to solve the speed of Hamza Azizi and land that one big shot, and a big pop here from the crowd as Azizi is back on his feet. Not quite sure what's going on yet in regards to that. Leg's still quite a bit wobbly, but the doctor's doing an excellent job of making sure that he is as good as he needs to be before he's able to exit the cage in a safe manner. Of course, the safety of all of our athletes, the utmost concern for the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship. Nigel Drapeau talking to his corner, saying that is the right hand that ended the fight. And he's, again, winning his first fight here. So it was both of these fighters were going for their first fight, and Nigel Drapeau was able to secure it. If you're a new viewer for the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship.com, watching on GFL.TV right now, we'd like to welcome you. Of course, if you want to watch any other Hard Knocks Fighting Championship action, you can get those on GFL.TV as well. And Hamza Azizi is going to go to the back and get himself some medical attention. And while we wait for the official decision to come in, we will tell you again, if you want to follow, another way to follow us is to go onto Facebook and look up Hard Knocks Fighting, and you will find all the information on all of the events coming up.
And now, the official decision brought to you by Driving Force. The winner by knockout at 21 seconds of the third round, in the red corner, Nigel Drapeau!
Nigel Drapeau, a big highlight finish knockout. He'll be with Ryan.
Nigel, for 2 rounds, you'd been loading that punch, throwing it from the hip, and every time he just snuck away. Not on that last one. That's probably as good a knockout punch as we're going to see. How good did it feel to get the win tonight?
Felt really good. I'd like to give a shout out to Hamza. Put on an awesome fight. I think he was winning that fight. I got lucky. I throw with reckless regard.
Now, you say he was winning that fight. We were talking about during the fight, he kept landing those kicks to the midsection. You can see on your body the bruising from those kicks. How tough is it to keep getting that kick in that spot and keep coming forward?
I don't know, man. I can take kicks all day.
All right, and I'm sure you got some coaches and sponsors to thank.
I'd like to thank Dragon MMA and especially Brandon Frost. There's no way I'd be here without him. He really put an extra effort in to get me where I'm at. So a big thanks to him. Thanks to FKP. They helped me out talking to me in the corner. I'd like to thank Hard Knocks, and I'd also like to thank Scott Hydrovax.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for your hometown winner, Nigel Drapeau. So Nigel Drapeau gets the win in front of the hometown fans, Ari. They say that mixed martial arts, sometimes all you need is that puncher's chance. Nigel was the puncher tonight.
What a great KO. Henderson Bisbing all over again.
Yeah, it was a nice fight, and Hamza Azizi looked good in his debut, just got caught circling towards power.
Hey, I think he was winning that fight. The kicks were great. He was controlling the fight until he got KO'd.
So Hamza Azizi falls tonight to the hometown hero, Nigel Drapeau.